How you going, people? Man, this story on this school shooting down in Texas is just getting worse and worse. And I can't believe there are still people defending these cops. It just amazes me, the brainwashing that you have to defend coward, lying cops who are armed and hid and allowed a guy to kill 19 kids and 2 unarmed teachers. And they're claiming it was very busy and they tried, but the guy shot at them. So they went outside and hid while this guy shot unarmed children. And you still have people defending it. So the timeline has been very, very changing at the moment, and I'm going to look at this, then I'll show you the timeline that I got.
From around the world trying to clarify the timeline of Tuesday's massacre, but
this guy is full of shit too. He's got 2 stars, and these other troopers that are here with their little helmets, they act like they're on a traffic stop, officer safe. They start jumping in front of this guy, holding their hands up. Hey. They want to take... I'm surprised they didn't start shooting the reporters because they asked them a few hard questions. If you watch this entire interview, the DPS, Department of Public Safety, the freaking highway cops in Texas, out there writing tickets, now they want to play cop because they're in a limelight. They are freaking tyrants. I mean, they are all ego, macho. We're the Texas Rangers. We're the Texas Department of Public Safety. We're smart. You dumb. You ask us questions respectfully or you shut up. I mean, these guys are showing their true tyrannical colors. Disgusting on this whole incident, the way they handled this. From the colonel to the 2-star to the director. I don't care who they are. Somebody said the director is retired FBI. Well, then he's got a lot of practice lying and deceiving the public.
But their answers raising even more questions.
We're still grabbing a lot of information.
Oh, it's so tough. We've got such a hard job. We had to arrest parents and hold them down with force and tase them and threaten to tase them. And we're trying to get so much information. We're here for your safety. If only we had guns and you didn't, we'd keep you safe. You lying tyrants.
Authorities say the gunman crashed his grandmother's truck at 11:28 a.m. Witnesses report seeing him carrying a long gun.
Okay, so when he crashed his truck, remember, he's already shot his grandmother, and people have called 911 reporting him, and they know that he took the truck. They're not saying that. They're not releasing all the 911 calls, but I'm telling you, Grandma came out, the neighbors knew he was trouble. They had called the cops before. They were familiar with the address. The cops had been to the address before. Mom was trying to throw the kid out, and now he shoots Grandma in the face, and she calls for an ambulance and help, and the neighbors call. And they aren't releasing any of those 911 calls because they don't want to expose their failures. The list of government failures I'll spell out when I get to my list.
In a bag. He fired at 2 people outside of a funeral home across the street before heading to the elementary school.
So he shoots his grandmother, people call 911. He crashes his car and shoots at people at a funeral home, people call 911. Then he has to go to the school and he shoots in front of the school for 12 minutes. 12 minutes in front of the school after all these other 911 calls. And your government, that's always Johnny on the spot heroes that are going to protect you and save you, they can't connect the dots.
At 11:30, the first 911 call came in.
That's bullshit. The first 911 call came in from the school. They've already had multiple 911 calls of him crashing, shooting at a funeral home, and shooting his grandmother.
This video shows the gunman dressed in black, long gun in hand, entering the school 10 minutes later at 11:40.
So they're saying 10. During a news conference, they said 12. He enters a door that was supposed to be locked. Remember, he has shot at the school, live rounds, and shot at the funeral home for 12 or 10 minutes. and the school isn't locked down. Okay? I don't mind holding the cops responsible for what they did, but the government schools failed. The teachers, the administrators, all the people we're always hearing that needs more money, they're going to protect our kids. They failed to lock the freaking doors. Are you kidding me?
Police say the doors appeared to be unlocked.
Appeared? He opened the doors and went in. He didn't have a key.
As for whether or not anyone tried to stop him from entering, yesterday, Director of the Texas Department of Public Safety said this.
When it first came out, the school resource officer they were reporting engaged him and took rounds and exchanged rounds. Now look, I get when an incident happens, there's a lot of information. You put things out, things change, you find out. Okay, I get that maybe the number of rounds fired, you may say 50 when there was 55. I get that you may say there was 20 cops and maybe there was 25 cops or 23 cops. I get those. What I don't get is you're saying cops fired and shot and got in a gunfight with this guy and it never happened. That's a pretty big mistake or a pretty big lie.
There was a brave, Consolidated Independent School District resource.
Brave. Man, you DPS lying fucks. All you guys are fucking I can't believe the lack of integrity of this freaking agency. I thought we still had some resemblance of honor and integrity in Texas. And these guys have been doing, the first lieutenant lied, the 2-star lied, this colonel lied. The DPS is a bunch of lying, lack of integrity cowards. Oh, let's throw in the Texas Rangers because they're from the DPS. Out freaking rageous. A brave school resource officer engaged. Rick, it was an honest mistake and you're trying to act. That's not an honest mistake. Somebody made up that fact because it didn't even come close. There wasn't even a school resource officer there. Even though the school has their own police department. The school district has their own police chief and officers. And somehow there wasn't one there. There wasn't even one armed. There wasn't even one unarmed. He was off getting lunch. He was doing other duties. He was being brave somewhere else writing a ticket. Out freaking rageous. This guy flat out lies.
There was a brave, Consolidated Independent School District resource officer that approached him, engaged him.
Engaged him. Remember? At first it was shooting. Now they're toning it back. Let's just say engaged because we can't, there might be a video out there of he didn't shoot. So now he engaged him. What'd you do? How you doing, sir? You got a gun? You'd like entry? Come on in. He doesn't go into that. First of all, it never happened. He wasn't there. There was no school resource officer. How does this mistake happen and not considered a freaking lie by our so-called public officials?
And at that time, gunfire was not exchanged.
But today, the department telling me this.
Was there a school officer on campus? And was that school officer?
This guy almost gets arrested because he starts grilling this guy, and this little weasel from the DPS and another little weasel from the DPS gets in front of this 2-star and starts holding up hands and telling people to be respectful when they're asking questions. Meanwhile, the Code of the Bald is back here with all their guns and badges, being tough now, being brave and powerful now. But when the kid was getting killed, they waited outside and hid. Out freaking rageous.
Officer armed because that's what we've been told.
So at this time, no. There was not an officer readily available.
Now he's saying readily available. There wasn't an officer there, dude. He added readily available. Really? He didn't ask that. He asked if there was an officer there that engaged him. And this guy's still lying. These guys can't. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I have never seen such flagrant lying and covering their asses, looking like freaking pieces of shit and defending coward cops. Yeah, all you guys back here, all you brave hero blue line guys that left 19 kids to get slaughtered. because you were waiting for backup, because it was dangerous and the bad guy shot at you. Freaking cowards!
Armed. No.
Was there an officer?
No.
Why?
Nothing. I can't answer that yet.
Now, I get that. He doesn't know why there's not the school resource doesn't work for him. They got their own police department, their own chief. So I get that he can't answer that. I don't have a problem with them being honest and saying I can't answer that. But to try and change the facts with their weaselly, slimy, double talk, lawyer talk is just sickening to me.
I'll circle back with you.
There's a 12-minute gap from when he crashes his truck to when he enters the school. 12 minutes. What happened in that 12 minutes?
You gotta understand, 11:30.
He doesn't want to answer that. See, he wants to give excuses about how the cops were busy and it was really dangerous and we didn't have all the facts and we're still trying to put it together. All this freaking double talk. Dude, your hat needs to be bigger because that hat don't hold all the bullshit that you're throwing out at this conference.
Is the information we have at this point. We got a crash and a man with a gun. And then you have responding officers.
See, he's making this isolated. See, when cops shoot people, they always go totality of circumstances. Remember, I was a use of force expert. I've testified in court. I know the lingo. I know the rules. It's totality of circumstances, everything known to the officer at the time they acted. He's saying, remember, car crashed and we got a call. That's all we know. That's not true. They got a call from the house when he shot his grandmother, from the neighbors and them. They got a call when he crashed. They got a call when he shot at the funeral home. They got a call when he fired bullets at the school for 10 minutes with no school resource officer.
That's the information we have right now.
4 minutes after the shooter entered, local police arrived at 11:44. The shooter fired at them, so the officers retreated and called for reinforcements.
Retreated. Ran like little coward pussies. They had guns and vests and radios and were always told how these cops are such freaking heroes and risk their life and it's a tough job. And they ran from an 18-year-old kid that just bought 2 guns a week ago, and these two armed hero cops ran. Oh, I'm sorry. They retreated for officer safety and waited an hour while this guy slaughtered these poor kids, scared and alone. Out freaking rages.
We need specialty equipment. We need body armor. We need precision riflemen, negotiators.
Really? That's what you need? What did those kids need when they were getting shot, you asshole?
They're also evacuating personnel, students, teachers.
He left out the part that they were arresting parents, handcuffing them, holding down a dad, handcuffing a mom, had people with tasers threatening parents. They couldn't go in. He left out that part that they were busy with.
A tactical team arrived at 12:47.
U.S. Border Patrol tactical teams arrive. They make entry, shoot and kill the suspect.
Made it look like heroes. This guy is despicable. Every one of you cops that are not speaking out and calling out these cowards, you're part of the problem. I've had several cops on my last video saying, I was a cop for 20 years. You go in. You don't wait. You don't run. You don't call a tactical team. There are plenty of cops that are speaking out against this. And all you cowards that aren't speaking out and protecting and defending this blue line bullshit, you are part of the problem. And that's why people are stopped caring when you guys get shot in the streets and you want us to feel sorry for you.
Police acknowledging the shooter was in the classroom for an hour before they were able to take him out.
Before they were able. No, they were able to go in. They had armed people there that could have went in. They chose to keep themselves safe. Officer safety. Wait for backup. While they let unarmed kids die a horrible death, alone and scared.
In that time, 19 children were shot and killed, along with 2 of their teachers.
Could anybody have gone there sooner? You gotta understand, small town.
Video taken after the shooting rampage shows loved ones being
Okay, when this first came out, I heard this was a mom. It turns out, from what I'm hearing now, and I still really don't know, there's no video of who it was, but I think there was a guy there. These brave cops, these brave Department of Public Safety cops there, maintaining control, keeping people safe, held him down, tased him, held him down while his daughter was being killed. And you got other cops coming here saying, Rick, they already had crime scene tape up. This was after the shooting. You're just trying to make cops look bad. They waited a freaking hour. Are you telling me that your Blue Line heroes, the people defending this, they're not competent enough to put up crime scene tape in an hour while they're waiting for the SWAT team? Is that what you're telling me, you idiots that are coming here defending this shit?
Restrained outside the school, unable to get to the children, begging officers there to charge in.
Begging officers. Let me tell you something, people. You need to pay attention. This is a critical point in the history of this country. When you have to beg the cops because you take your kid to school, and now the cops say, we won't let you go get them. They're no longer your kids. They belong to us. We're going to allow them to stay in there and get killed and protect ourselves and stop you from protecting your kids. You better wake the hell up. You better stop falling for this bullshit about we need more gun control and somehow taking guns away from good people will stop this. The problem is government is too powerful. There's too many cops here with guns and they're willing to shoot you, but they're not willing to go in and save your kid. What a despicable day for law enforcement.
We were told that everything was confined to one classroom. That's not the case?
No, we've just gotten some new information. Texas investigators are now telling NBC News the shooter targeted children in 4 different classes.
For days, we've been hearing it was one classroom. The cops couldn't do anything. We locked him in one classroom. We saved the day. We went in and kicked down the door and killed him. We're heroes. They hid for an hour while kids were being slaughtered. And this guy went to 4 different classrooms. Now it's coming out. Now, man, I'm telling you, parents, Americans, people need to wake up. This is a call for freaking you better wake the hell up. Tyranny is at your doorstep with their boot on your neck. What's it gonna take?
Classrooms. I just got done speaking with some residents here in Uvalde. Lester, they're very upset. They're upset about what happened here. They're upset with discrepancies with police. They're upset about this timeline. They just told me.
Upset isn't the word. Wanting vengeance and answers and people fired and politicians removed, that is the key. And when I say vengeance, I'm not talking about violence. Somebody's gonna come here, man, he's promoting violence. He wants me. Well, you know what? The cops didn't have a problem using violence stopping parents from saving their kids. The cops didn't have a problem using violence and threats of violence with their guns, and yet somehow taking away guns from good people is going to make this better. Don't be a freaking government stooge and idiot.
They're not sure who to believe now.
So here's my timeline that I put up on what we're getting now. And again, this may change with more information. Okay? The killer, he turned 18 and bought 2 guns on different days, passing a government background check. And he didn't have a driver's license. I don't know what kind of ID he used. Maybe he used Social Security. Maybe he used his library card. I don't know. But this is government failure 1. Okay? How does a guy, a kid, 18, buy 2 guns in different days when there's already been several calls to his house that they're not releasing, that the mother was there was drug use, the neighbor said there was always problems, he was calling his mom a fucking bitch, she was cussing, the cops were there. We're not hearing any of that. Government failure 1. Then the killer posts comments publicly. Granted, it was only 15 or 20 minutes before he went to the school, but they were still posted publicly that he was going to go shoot up a school. Government failed to pick that up. Nobody reported it, or they reported it and government ignored it. Government failed to connect the dots. Government failed too. He shoots his grandmother in the face and steals her truck and car. Okay? People call 911. Grandma calls 911. Ambulance is coming. Government doesn't connect the dots. The kid crashes the car because he doesn't have his license. I don't know how much he's driven before. He crashes the car. The cops get a call, 911 call, man with a gun. He shoots at people after he crashes the car at a funeral home. This is before he gets to the school. Cops don't connect the dots. Government failure. Then he goes to the school and shoots at the school for 10 to 12 minutes. It's kind of a thing. There's no SRO. There's no school resource officer there. And the school has their own PD and own officers. But somehow there's no SRO, armed cop there. We were told all this was fixed the last time they called for more gun control. The last time a bunch of kids got killed, we were told all this is fixed. Government failure number 68. Then the government school, again, I don't mind giving the cops shit, but the government schools, government trained teachers, government lockdown, we have all these things. We have to lock the schools up. We have drills. The government failed to lock the doors, allowing the killer inside. Government failure, whatever. Then the kid gets access to 4 different classrooms. At first, we were only told 2. But now we're being told 4 because the teachers failed to lock the classroom doors, allowing the shooter to have access to kids in 4 different classrooms. Killer went to 4 different classrooms shooting while armed cops hid outside and handcuffed parents and threatened to tase them and said they had to keep them safe by not letting parents have access to their kids. The cops were too scared to go in, even though they had guns and bulletproof vests and backup. They were too scared to go in, but they weren't too scared to handcuff parents. This isn't a government fail. This is absolute tyranny of government overreach. Armed cops arrive and supposedly take rounds, and then they retreat and run like the yellow cowards they are. And they waited an hour while kids were being slaughtered. And they held the parents back while the kids were being slaughtered. Are you freaking kidding me? Parents are tased, arrested, and handcuffed and prevented from saving the kids. One unarmed mother, after she was handcuffed and let loose, she broke through the barrier, went around, disregarded the tyrannical armed cops who were scared cowards in hiding, and she got her kids out. This is the hero. Why isn't the media interviewing her? Why isn't she on the front page instead of these freaking DPS bunch of stars and colonels and lieutenants telling us how brave they were? Out freaking rageous. Police put out a false narrative for the last 2 days, lying and changing the story about how they saved the day. They left out all the bullshit that's coming out now because of videotapes. And now that they're getting caught, they're coming out. And now, even today, they're re-revising their narrative after each new video is discovered and exposing their poor misunderstandings because it was busy. That's my timeline. Few other headlines. Mothers doesn't believe her son was freaking dangerous. Police waited to enter the school after the killing spree went on. Not only did they fail to enter, they prevented parents from entering. Imagine you're a parent. Government tells you we need to take your guns because only government should have guns. And then when somebody goes and kills your kids, we're going to use those guns that only we have as government, and we're going to prevent you from going in and protecting and saving and rescuing your kids, making your kids die alone and scared and being shot because we're the blue line heroes. Outrageous. Luckily, lots of different news people are getting this out because the Lion DPS has been putting out false information from the Jump Street. And they're still lying and not admitting that they lied. I mean, we got idiots that don't even know what kind of round or gun is used. And they're trying to tell us how bad the round in the gun is. They don't even know what they're talking about.
AR-15 style weapon. I think it's a .233 round. I mean, it can go through a door. It can go through if you held a desk up. Yes, it does all of that.
it's just crazy. Any bullet will go through a door. Okay? A door is a piece of wood, depending if it's hollow, if it's metal. There's so many factors this guy just got wrong. But that's just part of the problem. At least the media is calling out the government on this, which they normally don't do.
Family members here that they expected more of the officers in this crisis to figure something out and not just wait it out.
No shit. I mean, you couldn't go to a window. I mean, it's not rocket science. The mom went to a window. She went into the school and got her kid out. No gun, no vest, no training. An unarmed mom did that. You cops ought to be so embarrassed. You shouldn't even be able to show your face, and you're still running around trying to tell everyone else how good you are and how tough of a situation it was for you while you let little kids die scared and alone getting shot. You cowards. So he gives the name of the liondps guy, and this
is according to the briefing that we got today. A few officers did initially try to approach the school and stop the gunman right as he was entering. And what Victor Escalon, the regional DPS director, said was that they took rounds. They hear gunfire, he said. They take rounds, they move back and get cover.
I want you to remember, cops didn't get shot. They weren't injured. They were just shot at. They might have just heard the rounds from the guy shooting kids, and they ran away. They had them in their sights. They had guns. They had bulletproof vests. They run around all year telling everybody what heroes and how tough this job is. And in a moment when they're called to do what needs to be done, they run and hide. Why don't we know the name of these pussy officers that did this? And here is where they make it about the guns. This piece of shit is still defending the cops, saying the poor cops that ran were outgunned because they only had pistols. And this guy had a weapon of war, blaming the gun, and the cops were outgunned, so it's okay for them to run.
The initial officers, they received gunfire. They don't make entry initially because of the gunfire they are receiving. So what that says to me is that these officers, presumably armed with handguns, were essentially...
You don't even know if they only had handguns. They were going to an active shooter. Most cops grab a long gun when they're going to an active shooter. So you're just guessing that they only had handguns. But even if they only had a handgun, they got a bulletproof vest, they got backup, they got numbers. There's two of them. They're supposed to be tactically trained. They have more experience with a gun, and they're scared of an 18-year-old with a gun, and they're going to allow kids to die a fearful, horrible death because they're scared and they only had pistols? Are you freaking kidding me?
Outgunned by an 18-year-old with a weapon of war, an assault rifle, and they decide they couldn't.
It's an assault rifle when a citizen has it. It's a patrol rifle when government has it. Total bullshit. Here's the woman that was handcuffed by a federal U.S. Marshal, by the way. There seems like a lot of federal people there. Not that I'm defending the coward DPS Texas cops, but you had federal ATF there. You had federal U.S. Marshals there. You had federal Border Patrol there. You had FBI. I mean, there's an awful lot of federal people that were there. Okay? It's called federal overreach. None of them should have been there. Texas cops should have took care of it. But they're cowards just like the federal cops, so I guess it don't matter.
As a farm supervisor said that she was one of numerous parents who began encouraging, first politely, and then with more urgency, police and other law enforcement to enter the school.
Remember, the school was getting shots fired for 12 minutes before the cops got there. 12 minutes. So teachers texted, parents texted. There was a lot of communication. Parents showed up to the school about the same time as the cops. I mean, it's just amazing that parents were able to get there and they couldn't go in and get their kid because the cops used force by threats of tasing and holding parents down and handcuffing them by federal agents. People, you better wake up.
After a few minutes, she said federal marshals approached her and put her in handcuffs. telling her she was being arrested for intervening in an active investigation.
This isn't an active investigation, dumb shits. Okay? The federal marshals are calling it an investigation. There was a guy shooting and taking hostages and shooting at cops and killing kids. The investigation comes afterwards, not an hour while the guy sits in there and kills kids. What a freaking idiot.
Ms. Gomez convinced local Uvalde police officers, whom she knew, to persuade the federal marshals to set her free.
So the local cops talked the federal guy to let her go. Wow. Those cops were brave.
Around her, the scene was frantic. She said she saw a father tackled and thrown to the ground by police. And
that's the one that was on the ground being held with a guy with a taser over him, 3 cops.
Third pepper sprayed.
They pepper sprayed parents.
Once freed from her cuffs, Ms. Gomez made her distance from the crowd, jumped the school fence, and ran inside.
You got a mom who has to go and jump a fence because armed cops are handcuffing and holding dads on the ground. And there's still people out here who are saying, yeah, if we just take guns from good people, not government, from good people, that government will protect you and will be safer. Are you freaking kidding me?
To grab her 2 children. She sprinted out of the school with them.
Climbed a fence, grabbed her 2 children, and ran out. Wow. Good for you, Mom. Freaking cowards with guns. Peace officers. Heroes. Blue line. Hiding while kids are getting shot. Unarmed mom climbs a fence and rescues her own kids. Wow.
Ms. Gomez, Frank, is every parent who put their body in front of a bullet in their life. Now,
actually, that's not true, because a lot of parents were held by threat of being tased or pepper sprayed or held down. So not every parent went in and put their life first. So this knucklehead national security analyst, he's a farmer, I think the assistant of the FBI, is saying DPS is doing shitty fucking conferences. No shit.
Are horribly broken. We're all familiar with the physician's Hippocratic oath, do no harm. That press conference today by that regional DPS director did harm. It did harm because he can't answer the most basic anticipated question.
Yeah, he can't answer because he's a freaking ticket-writing cop. He got promoted because he wrote the most tickets. He got promoted because of what bathroom he used or because of what race he was or for whatever reason they promoted him. He's never a cop. He's probably never written a search warrant. He's never kicked in a door and gone and done parole searches. He's probably never made a felony arrest unless he got some guy on a traffic stop that happened to have money or drugs. And then he called someone else. And now he's in charge of this investigation and they're looking like idiots. And they are idiots, but whatever. This guy's eyes blinks too much for me. I think he's lying. But anyway, he's got a couple good points.
Why did it take so long? If even this is accurate, why did it take 10 minutes to respond to a 911 call? This is a small town.
That's a really great point. You got a guy crashing a car with a gun, shooting at people. And it still took 10 minutes for the cops just to get to the school. Not only was there no resource officer there, it still took... I keep telling people, cops don't keep you safe. They show up after the carnage and they draw chalk lines and then they claim to be the heroes. You will never have enough cops to be everywhere. And if you ever get to the point that there are enough cops to be everywhere, then you're going to really know what tyranny is. And we're almost there. You feel safe and you are safe when you have a gun and you have the ability to stop criminals yourself, to take immediate action. Even when the cops show up with guns, they waited an hour. They're still cowards and scared. The elite team of Border Patrol. Yeah, elite. The cowards. The cowards that were outside is an elite team, too.
I'm familiar with BORTAC, which is the elite team of Border Patrol, as being Border Patrol. I hear people intermingling CBP, which is an entirely different agency. It's Customs and Border Protection, a different agency. Were they both there? Was it a mixed tactical team? And look, here's another question. Where the heck is the sheriff tactical team and the local police tactical team?
That's something that's not being talked to. The local cops had their own SWAT team. The sheriff has their own SWAT team. Lots of money, lots of government taxpayer money going to them. And neither one of them was available. We had to get the Border Patrol. Really? This is such a lying cover-up investigation. I've never... But again, all things being said, the biggest thing to me is the stain on law enforcement that you idiots out there run around who are still defending. There's still cops defending these guys, saying they were heroes and it was a tough situation. These cops hid with guns while unarmed kids and teachers were being slaughtered. Are you freaking kidding me? More damaging witness statements on the brave police.
Javier Cazares, a father whose 9-year-old daughter was killed in the massacre, said that
wow, these guys are good. Look at them. Out there writing tickets, keeping you safe, holding down parents, handcuffing, tasing, pepper spraying parents, trying to get to their kids because you got guns and you were too scared to go in. Wow. Man, you guys are really good.
Officials have been misrepresenting the response of law enforcement during the shooting at Robb Elementary. Quote, they said they rushed in and all that. We didn't see that, said Mr. Cazares, who was outside the school during the attack and heard gunshots. He saw police officers evacuating children, but grew angry, he said, when he did not see officers enter the school immediately. Quote, there were plenty of men out there armed to the teeth. They could have gone in fast.
No, there weren't any men armed to the teeth. There were pussies and cowards armed to the teeth. Okay?
This could have been over in a couple of minutes. Cazares said he spoke with Governor Greg Abbott of Texas at a news conference Wednesday. And
Abbott's pissing me off too, because these guys, remember, these guys protect him. They're his protection team. When he travels, these are the guys that protect him, the DPS. So he is way too biased to protect his protecting team. So, I mean, it would be like a president out there trashing the Secret Service. He's not going to do that. Those are the guys that protect him. Abbott's not going to do shit about the incompetency at the DPS and all the failures that they did. He's not going to hold anybody accountable. Okay, I keep hearing that aren't the cops required to go in? No, the cops are not required to go in. The Supreme Court has ruled on numerous cases that police have no duty to protect. They have guns, we pay them, they run around and claim to be heroes. They have no duty to protect. This is the second school shooting where the cops stood outside while kids were getting slaughtered. And no cop has been held accountable, and the Supreme Court has backed them up and said they have no duty to act. They have no duty to act, but yet they chose to prevent parents from acting. They used their guns and their power to prevent parents from acting while kids were getting slaughtered. As I was reading this, I wanted to add in, there should be hopefully some lawyers looking at this, and it looks like there's a pretty good lawsuit which could go back to the federal court if somebody challenges it. If you notice, the courts ruled that agencies had no constitutional duty to protect students who were not in custody. Not in custody. Those kids were in custody of a government school, which makes them in custody of government, which is how government gets around doing things to your kids when you drop them off at school. So de facto, that the kids were in a government school, they were in the custody of government. Therefore, government did have a duty to protect them. I think a case can be made for this, and I hope somebody tries.
Told him the police responded more slowly than officials had told the news media. During the news conference, Beto O'Rourke, a Democrat running for governor, was quickly escorted out after interrupting the proceedings. That swiftness at the school would have been awesome, he said.
That's a great point. When O'Rourke went in and interrupted Abbott's little press conference, he had cops around him within seconds. Yeah, because that's their job and they want to look good in front of the governor. Kids getting slaughtered and killed, this is what they're doing. Standing around, waiting for the SWAT team. We need more equipment. We need surveillance. We need body armor. We need tanks. We need more. If we just had more government, then we would keep you safe. If you pesky citizens just didn't have guns, government could save you. Man, you better wake up, people. News report after news report. Parents, you need to get in there. You all need to go do your jobs. We can't do our jobs because you guys are interfering. This is the blue line. It's the parents' fault for interfering on why they were cowards and allowed kids to be killed. Are you kidding me? I was in the very front. All the cops were just there. All of them in front. We were talking shit to them to hurry up, move, go inside. And they said, y'all need to leave. All you need to leave. Wow. Wow. Brave blue line heroes. And remember, there's a bunch of cops still defending these guys, saying they were right. Officer safety. You know, screw the kids. Officer safety's first. When you people hear all the support the blue, back the blue, they got tough jobs. It's a hard job out there for them. Look at these victims. How hard was it for them to die alone and scared while cops stood out there and waited for more guns. All these kids dead, gone forever, because the police had to worry about officer safety and prevent parents from entering. What a freaking disgrace. All you cops that didn't go in are stain on good law enforcement men. Out freaking outrageous. Well, Lynette there.